The National Student Financial Aid Scheme has defended its decision to cut funding to 5,000 students. Now, this comes after the South African Revenue Service disclosed that the students had declared their total household family income to be above the 350,000 rand threshold. NSFAS administrator says rejected students have 2 weeks to launch a petition.
This is part of our ongoing improvement in our administration. We have been signaling to students and to parents that we are going to be using SARS data to validate income. Up till now, NSFAS had used credit bureau data, which is unreliable and self-declared declarations. So we have now found a number of students that by far exceed the threshold for funding, which is 350,000 rand. We have unfunded them, but we've given them the opportunity to petition us in the event that the household circumstances might have changed. So this is a clean-up of students that did not qualify. Policy simply says that your household income must be below 350,000, and if it's differently able, 600,000, and if you are a SASSA beneficiary, then of course you do qualify. So that's the rule that we have to play with, or that we are bound to fund. We are aware, and we have received a number of hotline queries where people have indicated that there are some students which are actually living quite luxury lives and they're still getting NSFAS. So we have to clean up because of students not qualifying for funding. We do accept, however, that people's household circumstances could have changed. People lose their jobs, people divorce, people die, and that's why we open up a 2-week petition period for students to connect with us and correct this, and we've already started doing that, in fact.
Now, for a reaction on this, I'm joined by Lubabalo Nzoyiya, South Africa Union of Students National Organizer. Lovely to have you with us, Lubabalo. Your reactions to the fact that 5,000 students have been cut from the NSFAS funding?
Thank you, Chuck. At our position at SARS, we feel that Dr. Randall is actually taking a wrong step here as his leaving office. Because here, even with SARS, they are saying people must verify their calculations, meaning that the SARS calculations might not be a true reflection of what is happening. That's why they need people to verify. Also, we are feeling that to say students must petition through bringing information. Already, there are appeals that have not been responded to. You are subjecting these students into a new process where they must wait for a longer period whilst they're supposed to be dealing with their studies. So we as South, we clearly reject this position of saying that students must submit their details when students were funded. NSFAS did a verification process when students applied. Now, there's no reason for NSFAS to bring a new process now of saying that students must now bring information, because one, when I was saying is that students have applied, submitted documents, and NSFAS verified their information. So there is no need for NSFAS to consult SARS. SARS, that they themselves are saying that the process is not clear. So we were saying NSFAS should focus on appeals that have not been responded to. You can't add on top of those appeals by saying that students must petition this process. And we feel that NSFAS is being mischievous, because when they were changing from the 1,000 threshold to 350, they started from the 350 threshold. I mean, they started from the new applicants. Why is it that now when they are changing this system, they are using SARS, they start from immediate students that are already in the system? Because we're saying that applications already that come from NYDA have not been responded to. So NSFAS must focus in dealing with those applications, and the South have been making strides in engaging NYDA in making sure that we improve that system. Abacom and Avel have engaged them to say that when they take office, they must improve the system. We can now add on the backlog that is there of NSFAS not responding to students. We can't accept that. We are going to continue.
Dr. Randall has said that he has made numerous attempts to the students that were going to be excluded, and that you've been given ample time to be able to furnish these documents. How much time have you been given, and how many of the students have actually managed to take use of this opportunity?
Okay, look, first of all, students are back at home because the universities are closed. they do not have internet on a daily basis as they normally do. So they can't. They were been given 2 weeks by NSFAS that student must respond. But what we are saying, Tam, is that even if students respond with those documents, NSFAS students that were told to appeal, they submitted their documents. It's been 5 months now. They have not been funded. Students who are in appeals. There are students who are sitting with debts who have not been responded to. Now, if you are saying these students must submit their documents and they have 2 weeks, some students might not see their emails as they do not have internet. And there are many reasons why a black student might have a parent, but that parent does not necessarily support that particular student. And we're saying to Randall, at least we should have been engaged. We consult with SRCs on campuses. We consult with different student organizations before this decision was taken by NSFAS. This decision had no leadership consultation. I just called President Kataza now, the president of SARSCO, to ask him that was he consulted around this matter, and he himself does not agree with this position. I consulted with Lisa, the deputy president of the EFF. He himself does not agree with this position. So we don't agree with this position because there is not enough time given to students, and also the time that is there, we must focus on responding to appeals.
Let me ask you this. How does this affect students now going back to school, considering the fact that this unfunding is effective immediately?
Well, this affects students directly, because one, some students were dependent on their allowances to come back to school. Some students were dependent on the laptops and the data that was going to be provided by the department to be able to proceed with their studies. Now, if you cut their funding, it means they no longer qualify for those laptops. They no longer have access to that allowance that they must come back to school. So it really frustrates students. Now they must start running around having to prove that they are really poor. And there's no student that must be subjected to a process of having to prove that they are poor. No one enjoys poverty. And you must not be subjected to a process of proving that you are poor. We reject this position. Dr. Randall knows that we're working well with him. And when we don't support something, we say it here. And we want to state it here on record that we reject this position of rejecting students. If there's anything that must be done, it must begin next year, and from this year remaining time, we must only consult student organization, we must consult the union, and then we must draft a clear way forward.
Well,